Newzroom Afrika's Veronica Makhoali is tracking the story for us, and she now joins us live from the Union building. So very good morning to you, Veronica. But later on, we'll be in conversation with Songezo Zibi, who is the leader of Rise Mzansi. They are calling on the president as well as the defense minister to address the nation on the operation that is currently underway in the DRC. Are we hearing anything as yet from the government officially at this particular point since that statement was released by the SANDF?
Well, Aldrin, at the time, the government remains mum, but those calls for the president as well as Defense Minister Angie Motshekga to address the nation are definitely intensifying. In fact, you would remember just last month outside here at the Union buildings, President Cyril Ramaphosa met with his Angolan counterpart, President Lorenzo, where they spoke in depth about some of the efforts and what seemed as to be really efforts to improve the situation and the conflict in the DRC. But these latest casualties tell us, if anything, that the conflict there is continuing to escalate and that the danger, of course, to South African resources, South African members, and, of course, the families that are now mourning those 9 individuals that passed away. And, of course, as the SANDF suffers another casualty in this SADC peace mission, the criticism about this deployment, Aldrin, is definitely growing. Many, including the South African National Defence Union, political parties, as we've heard their comment from the DA, as well as defense analysts themselves have said that it's worrying almost that South African soldiers are almost sitting ducks in this conflict. And they've really likened this issue, in fact, in saying that the latest casualties have exposed the incapacity of the South African National Defence Force, specifically because of the many constraints that they've seen from a budget and a funding perspective, Aldrin. This has seen a reduction in training, equipment, and, of course, what is crucial in terms of keeping the M23 rebels at bay. This is what we've heard from analysts, is that withdrawal of air support. And so, Aldrin, this is, of course, an issue not only for the region in the SADC region, but, of course, as well for the instability for Africa at large, but for the many families that are suffering. So far, what we do know from the South African National Defence Force is that they've sent their condolences to the families. We are waiting for some of those names and the list of those 9 members that passed away, but also worth mentioning that it was not only just South African boots on the ground. It's understood that also some Malawian soldiers and those from Uruguay were also affected in this operation, Aldrin.
Thank you so much for that. That is Veronica Makhoali joining us outside the Union buildings there.